Good morning, folks. Welcome into the After Schrock. We're going to give everybody a couple seconds to join up here before we get this party started. Although it says I've been live for 20 seconds, so was that uncomfortable like 15 seconds where the thing just spins and you don't know if you're live or not? That was probably what that was. So anyway, few things to cover today. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, belatedly. Hopefully everybody had a safe and good Thanksgiving. We had a bit of a scare in the Schrock household. The family matriarch, basically, she had a transient stroke. So it's been an interesting year for 2020, so the lovely Kimberly's mother had some health issues, and she's fine. She's out of the hospital. She's regaining just about everything that she lost, so everything is going good there. But we actually had to we didn't hold Thanksgiving. We're like, you know what? We're not going to hold Thanksgiving while you're in the hospital, especially when you're going to be out probably on the weekend. We'll just do it on Sunday when you can. So we're going to actually do Thanksgiving today. So I have to keep. My wife has specifically asked me when the lovely Kimberly specifically asks you to do something, you need to listen. She asked me to keep it short today because I got to get home to help get everything prepped for Thanksgiving, guys. So I hope all of you had a good Thanksgiving. Maybe some of you guys are going to do in your Thanksgiving stuff now as well. But we have a lot to be thankful for in the Schrock household. Transient strokes are scary. I've never had to deal with that before. My dad had all kinds of heart issues, but never stroke problems. And so basically the transient stroke is a blockage that moves as it's blocking. And so you have different symptoms. So she had this going on for like a week in different parts of her brain, and we didn't realize it until, we got the classic face stop on one side. And you're like, oh, wow, that's a stroke. We know that. And we got her into the hospital. So there is likely no permanent damage, which is really good. It's really good that it happened this way because the alternative is a life-ending stroke and having a warning that there's something going on that we need to pay attention to and medications need to be started or adjusted and things like that. This is the warning sign that you want to get when you have the problem. So as uncomfortable as it is and as horrible as it is to go through something like this and how you wish you didn't have to do it at all, I'm really thankful that it beats the alternative and that we get to have her around for Thanksgiving. We're already going to be one chair light at Thanksgiving this year, so I'm really glad that we have her around. So anyway, I'm going to keep it as brief as I can today, guys, but I want to make sure I cover a couple things with you and take any questions you guys might have as well. All right, so please ask your questions in the comments there. I'm going to cover a couple things, and I'll go through the questions and answer anything we've got down there. I mentioned in the description for the thing here that we've got a new Windows 7 security breach. We haven't talked about Windows 7 in a long time. I didn't think it rose. It was a little bit in the weeds as far as what it is and what it does. And honestly, the number of people using Windows 7 is so minimal now that I didn't really think it was worth spending precious, on-air time on. But I know that as you see family members, you're going to have some, especially older family members, who are still on Windows 7 because it's what they know. Like it's hard when you get older to switch computers because you're switching operating systems and everything changes. Going from Windows 7 to Windows 8 was literally heart-stopping. There were videos online at the time when it happened. Like kids would sit down with their dad and say, "Okay, Dad, here's your computer. Turn it on." "Oh, okay," and he turns it on. Right? He goes, "Okay, now open a program," and he's like, and 3 minutes later he finally gets Word open. "Okay, Dad, we're all done with the computer now. Go ahead and turn it off." And how do you turn it off? Everything was changed. It was horrible, the moving from 7 to 8. Moving from 8 to 10 was horrible because they changed it all back to the way it used to be on 7. The beautiful thing is if you're on 7, going to Windows 10 is a streamlined experience. You're not going to have a situation where you're going from 7 to 10 and it's a problem. It's going to look a lot like Windows 7. Windows 7 has a new security vulnerability, and it was accidentally discovered by this guy who makes security tools. And the problem was it was accidentally discovered in a way that made it public. Normally what happens is when you discover a vulnerability like this, you advise Microsoft about it, and then you give them time to fix it before you give them 90 days to put out a patch before you talk about the vulnerability. And when Microsoft releases the patch, they will credit you with discovering the patch in their official release. So as a security researcher, you get your chops for getting credit for finding it. You get to build your brand a little bit as a researcher in security. And also, we don't have a situation like we have right now in Windows 7, where now the bad guys know about an unpatched way to completely access any Windows 7 or Windows Server 2008 R2, which again is an even smaller subset of the population. If you have an ancient server in your business that it's been around since 2008, if your server has a George W. Bush for president sticker on it, that's a problem. If your computer is running Windows 7, you have a problem as well, and you need to get off Windows 7. Right now, there is no security stop for this, and there is no guarantee that Microsoft is going to even release a patch for this, because Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 R2 are both end of life. So we can install Sophos on Windows 7, and that helps. But that's like saying we can lock the cars on, or lock the doors on that car that has no windows. If somebody wants to get in, they're going to get in. We can keep the honest people honest, and keep you safe from the silly stuff that you pick up online, and maybe even remove something if it gets in. But Windows 7 is not a safe platform to run on at all. All right, so let's jump into some questions here. Good morning, Roger. Thanks for joining us here. Maureen, good to see you. Welcome back, Mitch. There's Mary. Howdy, Mary. I don't know what it was today. Like I had two. Did you hear those? Like the stutter attacks, where I was like stutter boy all of a sudden. When did that start? All right. Welcome to the After Thanksgiving After Schrock. That's right. Oh, I'm so full. No, but I'm doing Thanksgiving today. So for me, it's not after, but for a lot of you, it is. And, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving, that you got to, I don't know. I don't want to be that guy who's saying, I hope you got to gather with families. How did the world come to this? Like yesterday, I saw somebody post something online, and it was just a funny little cartoon about an old lady or a guy at a grocery store. It was a lady at a grocery store. A guy walks past, and she says, "Oh my gosh, you farted. That's disgusting." And then he looks at her and says, "Well, your mask doesn't work then," and keeps walking, right? And it's ha funny. If you can smell the fart, the corona's getting through, right? So it's a funny joke. It's not a statement on masks or the efficacy of mask wearing or anything along those lines. It's a joke. Why can't we just laugh at a joke? Nope, the first comment underneath was literally a link to an article that explained why, from a scientific perspective, you can smell a fart through a cloth face mask, but it still protects you from COVID. Can't we just laugh? Can't we just, if a family wants to get together for Thanksgiving, I'm not going to judge them. You know what? I'm not going to judge them. If you're concerned, if you have vulnerable family members and you don't want to get together for Thanksgiving, I'm not going to judge you. That's a family decision. You do what you want. You do you. You do what you want to do. We'll do what we're going to do, right? This whole concept is really scary of the fact that you have a social responsibility to behave a certain way to protect other people in the community from something that may or may not be a threat. So you have a social responsibility not to punch people in the face, right? Those are actions that directly harm other people, that you know are going to harm other people. You have a responsibility not to steal other people's stuff, because that's a behavior that you can control that directly hurts other people. Okay, you have an obligation to wear a face mask in public because the face masks don't protect you from getting coronavirus. They stop the spreader from spreading it. So the concept was, we have people who are asymptomatically spreading coronavirus, which is in scientific dispute. Not that you would ever read any of the articles anywhere because they all get censored. But anyway, it is in scientific dispute. But there is no dispute that if you are carrying COVID, if you are infected presently and you wear a face mask, the odds of you transmitting it to people around you are much lower. So the idea here is if everybody in the community wears a face mask, nobody will transmit to anybody else, and the numbers will go down. Okay. Why are the numbers going up? I mean, it's just frustrating, right? But that doesn't mean when I go to the grocery store, I don't put a face mask on. So you know what? It's as I often say, this is not the hill to die on. There are things that are going on in the world right now that are there's child trafficking happening. There's victims all over the place of all kinds of really serious crimes. There's human trafficking and smuggling and everything else going on. I am not worried about wearing a mask at Hy-Vee. I will wear the mask. I don't care, right? No, but when you tell me that I have to wear it legally because I have a responsibility to protect the people around me from something that I may or may not actually have, where does that end? That's kind of concerning. But anyway, sorry. That's a tangent. That's why I now have schedules to follow for the radio show that tell me what to talk about each segment that I write before the show so that I don't go off on a tangent like that and waste like 20 minutes of airtime. All righty, let's see. Got my coffee, kicking back and enjoying the show. Good to have you, Roger. Welcome back, Blake. Winston, audio sounds good. Thank you, Winston. Good morning, Bill. Happy blessed day from South Dakota. Happy day in Schrockville. That's right, Deborah. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Good morning, Ginger. Well, we're thankful for you too, Ginger. Ginger was a little worried last week that she didn't sound good on her segment, and I just have to tell you, Ginger, of any business owner I've ever had on the show, you smoked it. You did so good. You didn't sound nervous at all. Everybody thinks they sound nervous. You might feel it, but it didn't come through in your voice. You did great. The first time I did the radio show on KFAB, I was coming from KFOR in Lincoln, and a good friend of mine at the time, Kobe Mack, the night before, I was super nervous about it, and he calls me up. He goes, "Thor, I just heard you're going on KFAB tomorrow for your radio show." I'm like, "Yeah, Kobe, I am. Isn't that great?" He's like, "Thor, the KF beeping AB, it's the big Thor. That it doesn't get bigger than that in Nebraska. That's big, right?" Not helping, Kobe. Not helping. That morning before the show, I was in the bathroom like, I don't feel good. Now I laugh because I come in here and like people come in and like Ginger comes on to do the show and she's super nervous. I know how you were feeling. I felt that too. The first time I did the live show in Des Moines, when I did the launch show there when it was live, I was nervous and I was like, why am I nervous? I do this every week. This is just a different room with a different microphone. Why am I nervous? I was nervous. So yeah, you get nervous sometimes, but you did great, Ginger. All right, good morning. What do you think about Amazon's Sidewalk, Hacker's Dream, or privacy concerns? I have not looked into Amazon's Sidewalk yet, which I will do that, Mark. I have not looked into that yet. I am beta testing the Amazon Halo, though. This is creepy as hell, right? So this is their latest health device. We talked about it on the radio, and I had applied at the time to be on the beta for it. But Amazon Halo is a health device, a health monitoring device. The thing I like about it is it does real-time live monitoring of heart rate, things like that, and it keeps a log. So, my dad, this would have been an amazing thing for my dad to have. And we can check it with an app, which would have been even better. The other thing that it does, though, that basically it's a whole health tool. So here's where it gets creepy, guys. This is why the Pioneer takes the arrows for you, right? You go into the bathroom and you strip down to your skivvies. And then you put your phone on the counter. That's right, guys. You take a picture of yourself in your underpants with your phone. Then that gets saved supposedly only in your phone. You have the option to cloud sync it. I chose not to cloud sync it. If I lose my phone, I can take a new picture. I'm here all week. So basically what it does, though, with the reason I did that, because obviously that's a big trust step, and Amazon's not exactly a trustworthy tech company for what they do with Alexa and everything else. But the reason I did that is based on your body scan, and it monitors your tone of voice throughout the day using similar tech to Alexa. Again, all contained on your phone, not uploaded to the cloud, supposedly. It develops a whole health picture for you. So it was able to tell me that my body is 40% fat. That was sad. That was really sad. I've let myself go a little bit, you might say, in 2020. So I got out with the boy yesterday. He had to do his last 1 mile run for his physical fitness merit badge, and so I thought, you know what? I'm going to run with you. And he's like, Dad, are you sure about that? I'm going to run with you. That's right. But son, because I'm old, I walk a half a mile before I run, and when I'm done, I walk a half a mile so I don't keel over and die. So. And my son isn't exactly a runner, so I was within maybe a minute and a half of beating him, but I walked a half a mile, then I started running. He just ran a mile. He walked 1 lap and then ran a mile. And I came within a minute of beating him. I was like, oh, so close. But then when I got done, I pull up, I'm walking, I'm in my cool down phase, right? And I pull up on my phone, I open up my Halo app, and it tells me my heart rate is at 144 BPM. Wow, that's pretty high. What was the highest it's ever been? 168 BPM. Big Daddy Thor is not in shape. I need to run more often because, yeah, my body was not reacting well. Now, I felt it while I was running. Like I was sucking wind. I was not doing well, but it was cooler out. It was kind of cold. I was an outdoor run. I haven't run really. I think I've run a total of 1 mile in the last 30 days. Oh, I ran once on the treadmill. So this is the second mile I've run in a month. Yeah, it's in the second mile I've run in a quarter probably. So yeah, it was rough. But basically, what it tells me then is every 14 days I take a new picture and it tracks my body image. So if I'm slipping, the scale tells you how much you weigh, but it doesn't tell you your body composition. So you can maintain the same weight, but as an adult, every year on average, you lose a pound of muscle and gain a pound of fat, but you maintain the same weight. So the scale tells you everything is fine and stable when it's actually not. This app is supposed to tell you what's actually happening with your body based on the body type. You do a front picture, you do a back picture, you do side pictures, and then it calculates your BMI. So it'll be interesting to see what happens after a month of, birthday, holiday, dad dying, mother-in-law having a stroke. Let's see what Amazon Halo says I'm doing, right? So anyway, it's kind of a cool product. It was only $69. I did have to buy it to be a part of the beta program. It is only $69 to use the device. But so far, I like the heart rate monitor. I really like it. You can get a heart rate monitor anywhere. But I like that. The tone of voice thing is interesting because when I'm interacting with my children for the most part, it says I'm happy. And when I'm interacting with people at work, it says I'm neutral. And when I'm interacting with people who are not getting their job done or doing the things they're supposed to be doing when they're supposed to be doing them, it says that I'm disappointed or negative. So it's pretty spot on with what it's telling me. It's pretty cool, actually. So anyway, good morning, Mark. Don't know about Amazon Sidewalk. That's right, but I will find out about it. I've never actually heard of it. I don't know how I haven't heard of that, but I will definitely look into that. Is that a real thing? Are you trolling me, Mark? I wondered about you, Thor. First hour, as if you didn't seem as happy as usual. I'm a little tired. We started watching a show called The Witcher, and it's a weird little show. It's hard to get into, but it's a weird little show. But my wife and I, the thing we do together every night is we watch a show together. We just watched like season 4 of The Crown, So it's not like they're not all super exciting or really awesome shows. The Crown was pretty good. The Diana stuff was a little. Okay, we're in the 80s now. Like, we're getting into stuff that I can remember as a kid now. So it's not as cool because I know it already. You know what's going to happen in the end and everything. But anyway, we watch a show to wind down every night. It's a habit that we have that we do. And last night we were getting ready for Thanksgiving, right? We didn't stop getting ready for Thanksgiving till about 11:30. And I thought, I want to watch a show with my wife. So we sat down and watched a show till about 12:30. And of course, I got to get up at 5:30 to get here to the radio station and get everything set up and do the show. So I have about 5 hours of sleep. So that might have been why I'm a little slower on the draw. Maybe that's where the stuttering is coming from. The brain is just like, chick, 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 don't know what to do. But yeah, it's been one of those weeks. It's been a week. It's been a month. I had a birthday. I lost my dad. Mother-in-law had a stroke. It's been a November 2020 kind of month, right? But like I said, thankfully, mother-in-law is doing very well. She's back at home. She's regaining virtually all the functionality that she lost has already been regained, doing really, really good. So it was more of a wake-up call for the family. The lovely Kimberly was talking about it. She said, you don't really think about those things until you have a reason to think about them. And now, I think about them, and you don't really know how your dad is going to respond when there's a situation like that. And now we know. It just reframes everything. And it was what I went through with my dad about 15 years ago when he had his first heart event. And literally my sister and I were at the hospital, and my sister was crying, saying, "I'm just not ready to lose him yet." And I'm sitting there like, I'm the guy that holds it together. Okay, like, well, you're never going to be ready to lose him, right? It's not like okay, I'm ready. That's awful, right? You're never going to be ready, but, I get what you're saying. It was kind of like that situation. So now we know what she needs to do to take care of herself, though, and we're going to be making sure she does that, and everything should be okay. That's the hope, anyway. Good morning, NAND. Ron says, I have an M.2 NAND NVMe PCIe internal solid state hard drive, and it does not show up on Drive Advisor. Is that normal? Thanks for the Parler follow. No problem, Ron. By the way, guys, I am on Parler. If you want to follow me, you can follow T Schrock. It's T Schrock on Parler. I'm not super duper active on there. I was never really super duper active on Twitter, and Parler is basically a clone of Twitter. But I thought, it's an interesting way for me to interact with the fans of the show, basically. My Facebook stuff is very compartmentalized. I have personal Facebook and I have professional Facebook. And the personal Facebook stuff stays personal. There's kids' pictures there. There's videos of kids. There's thoughts of things that are not related to work that stay there over on that side. As a rule, the general public doesn't get in there. If I don't have a personal friendship with you, you're not in there, basically. On the flip side, Parler is a neat place where I can post things where maybe there are, I can post pictures of me with my nephew eating Doritos on the couch, for example. And it's like, I don't mind sharing that moment with the general public. That's cool. And it allows me a place where I can interact and you guys can, get to know me a little better. I can get to know you a little bit better and kind of see what's going on in your stream there. Right now, there's a lot of right-wing stuff on Parler. In fact, I followed a few people that I follow in the media, but they literally, like Dan Bongino is awesome. But dude, you got to slow down the posting, man. I literally have 52 notifications in my feed a day from Dan Bongino about different media things he wants me to watch. I don't got that kind of time. I'm sorry. Make a daily briefing. Keep it to 3 minutes or less. I mean, I'm sorry. I just don't. I had to unfollow him. It was getting to the point where I couldn't even use my feed because there were so many notifications I couldn't even click on them all. Follow Cheryl Atkinson. She's a real journalist that actually does investigative reporting. Awesome. So if you want to follow me there, it's at T Schrock. And I usually follow you back just because I want to make sure that I see your updates too. It's kind of a community thing. All right. So the Drive Advisor, there are some hard drives that Drive Advisor doesn't see. If the drive does not maintain internal smart notification status, Drive Advisor will not necessarily see it. That is not unique to NVMe hard drives. It is unique to tablet memory that comes on board with some tablets, for example, that run Windows 10. It can't see that memory, the flash-based memory, but it should see your hard drive just fine. If it's not seeing it for some reason, we can try some steps in the service center to get that to work better for you. If nothing else, though, we have a new developer that's working on the Drive Advisor application, getting that Battery Advisor component rolled out. So we might be able to get him to look at that as an individual situation or case study. But to do that, we would need access to the computer, so we'd probably need it in the service center to figure out why exactly it's not doing it. But it's definitely a research case study. There's been a few hard drives, just random brands that pop up like that. Usually it's an off-brand drive, an ADATA or something like that that's going to do that. Not usually a Samsung or something along those lines. We have trouble with Kingston drives sometimes. It's trouble with SanDisk drives sometimes. It just depends on the model and the type of drive. Alrighty. Is Sophos always running in the background on my iPad and Android phone? It is. In fact, when you install it, when we install it for you, we have to tell it, give it permission to always run in the background, and so that it can't be turned off by the power management feature. So it's always running in the background and always scanning. All right, Randy says, good morning. My Asus has 2 hard drives. One is an upgraded 480 from the Village Point shop. The other is the mechanical 1 terabyte. I've been checking into external backup drives. Any thoughts on SSDs versus mechanical backup speed isn't important. It can be run at night. Okay, so the only thing that a solid state's going to give you over a mechanical is shock protection. Bang, 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 it doesn't break. That's what usually kills externals, but they're backup drives. So I'm not sure that the cost difference, it's going to be much more expensive to get a solid state external than it would be to get a large rotating disk. Try to keep it to 2 terabytes or less unless you have a reason to go higher than that. Main reason is the bigger the drive is, the easier it is to kill with a shock, with like a physical impact. You don't want to have those, obviously. So yeah, I would go with the mechanical drive if speed's not an issue. It'll save you some money on the cost, and it's a backup drive, so if it goes bad, you just replace it. Good morning, Nan. Good morning, Carolyn. Good to have you here. Good morning, Carolyn Lloyd from Round Rock, Texas. Thank you, Carolyn. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanksgiving is all family. That's right. Good morning, Janet and Leslie. Good to have you here. Camille goes to purchase Amazon Halo. Can you actually buy it now? I don't know. I thought it was in beta, so you might be able to buy it, or you might have to like apply to get on the beta. It took about a month for me to actually get a notification that I could participate. I ordered it. It took like 4 days to get the device. I remember back when you were trying to develop a monitor device. Yeah, it's kind of similar. This is what we actually had envisioned for the Allen band, except it had a little screen on the top. This has no screen. It has one button and a couple lights. So it is not intended to, in fact, I'm wearing it backwards. I took it off and put it back on backwards. You want to keep the button facing up your arm so that you don't accidentally bump it on things as you're going about your day. But basically, it's not intended to give you email notifications. It doesn't tap your wrist for anything. So literally, you'll notice I'm wearing this on. You're usually supposed to wear these things on your non-dominant hand, but that's where I've got my actual watch. So now I've got two devices, and my wife says it's like an alien at night because I wear them both to bed because they'll monitor your sleep too. And so I'm comparing the results between the two devices, right? So at night I go to sleep and then randomly like green lights on my arms turn on and off, taking my heart rate and stuff as I sleep. All right. Let's see. Does Ginger Rogers have a website? Ginger Rogers does have a website. Ginger Rogers' website is, oh, thank you, Camille. I appreciate it. Legal DNP. There you go, www.legaldnp.com. All righty. Scrolling down to make sure I got all the comments covered here because I promised Kim I would keep it short, so I'm going to have to get rolling here. Good morning, Karen. Good to have you. All right. Cheryl and Rich checking in from Council Bluffs. Good to have you guys. Mark, I would not troll you except about having a service center in Grand Island, which I promised I would not do this year since 2020 has been crazy. Oh, Mark, come on. Everybody likes to get trolled once in a while. It's kind of fun. Oh gosh, yeah. You gotta have fun with life. Otherwise, what's the point, right? I don't know why it won't let me put a laughy face on your comment. I'm trying to laugh at your comment, but it won't let me do it. So I decided to click like. You can turn off the notifications for those you follow. Well, then what's the point of following them? I guess, if I'm not going to see their notifications of what they do, I suppose it would show up in my daily feed. That might be a reason to do it. But again, I was never a really serious Twitter user, guys. I've had to learn the hard way that there are things you post on social media and there's things you just don't. Things that Thor thinks is funny, sometimes other people don't think is funny. So yeah, I got to be a little careful with what I post. But, oh golly. But yeah, generally anything that has to do with poop is not funny on Facebook. You don't post that. Unless it's the one about the Roomba that the dog, have you seen that? I think it's from like a year or two ago, but basically someone's dog had an accident in the house overnight. And then the Roomba activated and went all through the house and desperately tried to clean up the dog's accident, but just ended up getting it on its wheels. So it was like tank tracks of poo going over the carpet and over into the kitchen and around. And yeah, and the whole Roomba was like nasty. That video's out there somewhere, but I guess that's something that could be funny about poop, but I didn't post that one. What is the name of the website to buy Bitcoin, Richard asks? I recommend Coinbase. Yeah, Ron, we have tons of trouble with crucial drives. Lots of trouble with crucial drives, actually. Like, keep an eye out. Come in for maintenance checkups kind of trouble on that. Crucial drives are not good. We used crucial drives when we started the holiday special last year, and we were replacing them within 30 days because Drive Advisor was alerting that they were going bad. Anyway, Drive Advisor should detect that drive, though. So, Richard, name of the website for Bitcoin. I recommend Coinbase, coinbase.com. I'll put a reply here so you've got that here in the show notes. Coinbase.com. You can buy Bitcoin in lots of places, but Coinbase.com is safe. Anybody who's requiring you to buy Bitcoin is going to require you to send a picture of your driver's license or your passport. Just get used to it. It's the modern day identity verification. It has to be reviewed by a human, which takes time. And then when you are approved to buy Bitcoin, you then have to add a bank account. When you add your bank account, because most credit cards don't work to buy Bitcoin because big banks don't let you do that. So when you sign up to get an account, you're going to have to use like an ACH transfer to get your Bitcoin, which takes 3 to 5 days. Okay, so they have to make sure that you're not going to I'm going to buy a Bitcoin with an ACH transfer. Here's $19,000 or whatever, and then okay, great, and then they go to take the money from your bank account, but the money's not there. Meanwhile, you have the Bitcoin and you've gone and spent it somewhere, and then they're out the money. They're not going to let that happen. So they're going to verify that they actually got the money from your bank, that everything is kosher pickles, and then you will be able to use your Bitcoin. So on Coinbase, when you buy Bitcoin, I would expect it to take. You can't just go in and buy one Bitcoin. You have to buy it in small amounts to prove basically that you're a good actor before that you don't have any ill intent. So they'll let you buy like a tenth of a Bitcoin, and then they'll let you buy like a half a Bitcoin, and then they'll let you buy three-quarters of a Bitcoin, and then they'll let you buy a full Bitcoin. And they're going to limit you to X number of Bitcoins you can buy and sell a month. Usually, like at my point, I've been doing it since 2012 now. So literally, I've got the highest limits you can get. I think I can transact 75. I can buy up to 75 grand in Bitcoin in a month. Not that I've ever done that, obviously, but that's the limit. So, to give you an idea, that's where the sky is, whatever you were going to do. So here's the thing. Depends what you're buying Bitcoin for. If you're trying to time the market, don't buy now. I don't think. So as Bitcoin approached 19,000, I started selling Bitcoin. Each $1,000 it hit. When it hit 16, I said it should be around 14 right now, is what the stock to flow model is telling me, and that model's been right overall in the long term. There have been dips and there have been peaks, but that model has averaged out, and the logarithmic on that value is spot on. So the stock to flow model, the S2F model, is what I follow for Bitcoin. It says at the end of the year, Bitcoin should be worth around $14,000. So when Bitcoin is at 16,000, I started to get a little nervous. Then it hit 17,000. All of a sudden, Stuart Varney's talking about it on Fox Business. Now I'm getting a little nervous. We had some FOMO happening. Now it's gonna rocket up again, and it's gonna have a blow off top, right? So at 17 I sold, at 18 I sold, at 19 I sold, and then it dropped down to like 15.5, where I bought one back in. And then I bought another one back in at 16. So you can see I'm going back up. The objective of the game is to have more Bitcoin, because I believe that Bitcoin is going to be worth significantly more in the future than it is now. I would say by the end of 2021, we're around 100 grand, probably. Yeah, at least that's what the stock to flow model tells me. It's going to take off. So it's good. Like I said, if you want to give your kids a gift for Christmas, give them a little Bitcoin. You don't have to give them a whole Bitcoin. You can buy a fractional one, like a piece of one. You can buy $100 in Bitcoin. But if you're buying it as an investment, like you're saying, I'm going to buy in and try to get as low as I can, I would wait for the price to get back down into the 15,000s right now. As of this morning, it's around 17.5 was the last time I looked anyway. But wait for it to get back down closer to the $15,000 range. I never try to time the bottom or the top. I don't mind getting out near the bottom or the top, because it's when you try to hit that you really screw up. But the bottom line is if you're trading Bitcoin, the objective is to have more Bitcoin, because a purchase of $100 today could be worth $10,000 a year from now. A purchase especially in this environment we have where you can't trust anything and there's no place to get yield, everyone's going to go where they think they can get yield, and right now that's Bitcoin. All right, I'm officially not keeping this short now, so I've really got to go. So absolute last call. If you have a question, pop it now. All right. All right. So anyway, 1 day left for the holiday special. You can use coupon code EARLYBIRD to save $100 off a holiday special. That's valid on the website. You can purchase at SchrockInnovations.com. You can do that in the service center too if you want. But after tomorrow, it's gone. For those of you in Lincoln who are watching, if you have a Lincoln address, it'll be good for another week and a day, because you're not going to hear the radio show unless you listen online on KFOR until next week. For those of you, just a program note, those of you who listen in Kansas City, we did pull our show from the station in Kansas City. There is some internal rationale for that. I should go into that further, but I don't have time today. Basically, we jump on a radio station early on before we put a service center in. It was an experiment we did with WHO. It worked and it didn't work. It worked, but it didn't work as well as we thought it had worked. And so we pulled the radio station out of Kansas City for now, because we're not looking at Kansas City until 2022. It's too early. So we're going to pull that off for now and put that money into basically making the online show a better experience. So if you did hear the show on KMBZ FM, next month it will not be on there anymore, and you'll have to watch it on Facebook. Just a heads up there. If you know someone in Kansas City, let them know. All right, guys, got to run. Thanks for joining us. Have a great afternoon. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving, or you're having one today, and we'll see you again next week for another edition of Compute This. If I can find my mouse pointer.